Landlord is jealous of my income, raises my rent $500. I screw him years later for $20,000. Back in the late 90s, my wife and I had just gotten married. We agreed we'd do the whole dink thing, double income, no kids, for a couple of years so we could save up for a house. The dot-com bubble was climbing fast, and I had just landed a huge opportunity. My first developer job didn't pay much, but then I got recruited to a new city for triple the salary. It was too good to pass up. Our plan was simple. We'd live frugally off her paycheck and bank all of mine. Within a year, we'd have more than enough for a down payment. We found a two-bedroom condo renting for $950 a month. The landlord, let's call him Hank, was a real estate agent. Thin, gray, humorless, the kind of guy who thought being serious made him important. He wasn't thrilled about being responsible for anything. The first thing he pointed out was that he would never fix the garbage disposal, since it wasn't covered in the lease. Weird thing to emphasize, but fine. When we filled out the application, he noticed my job title, software developer. Salary, $75,000. For a 23-year-old in the late 90s, that was a small fortune. Add in my wife's income, and we were easily over six figures while living in a place far below our means. Hank kept muttering, "I can't believe how much you make," over and over again. It was awkward, but I brushed it off. We told him we'd probably only stay a year, maybe a few months more if needed. Hank nodded and said, month to month after the lease would be fine. A year later, we bought our house, but the closing date was 2 months after our rental lease ended. I called Hank to ask about the extension. He said no problem. He'd send something over. When the papers arrived, I nearly exploded. He had jacked the rent up by $500 a month. I called him right away. "Hank, this is outrageous. That's more than our new mortgage is going to be." His reply, condescending, smug, and something I'll never forget. "You don't have to like it. You just have to pay it." We were stuck. Putting our stuff in storage and couch surfing with friends wasn't realistic, so I swallowed my pride and wrote him a check for $1,450. Then another one the next month. On top of that, he docked us $300 from our security deposit for nonsense. In my head, I tallied it all up. He had squeezed us for about $1,200 we never should have paid. The kicker? After we left, I saw the ad he placed for the apartment. He didn't raise it by $500 for the new tenants. He raised it by only $150, then had to drop it further when no one bit. So yeah, he gouged us because he could. I carried that bitterness with me for years. Fast forward about 5 years, we were in our house, had a baby, and life was good. One day at work, I overheard a coworker, Phil, chatting at the front desk. "Hey, if a Hank Wazowski comes by, let me know. He's dropping off some papers." That name hit me like a punch. I walked over and asked how he knew Hank. Phil explained that Hank was his real estate agent. He'd bought his condo through him years ago and was now selling it so he could buy a house. I described Hank, thin, gray, humorless, and Phil confirmed, same guy. And right on cue, the office door opened. In walked Hank. He didn't recognize me at first. Phil introduced us, and I reminded Hank exactly who I was, the software developer who rented from him while saving for a house. Watching his eyes flicker with recognition was glorious. I casually did the math out loud. "So you're selling the condo for, what, $150,000 to $200,000, then buying a house in the $500,000 range. That's around $650,000 to $700,000 in transactions. A 3% commission on both sides is, what, about $20,000 for the agent?" The blood drained from Hank's face. He knew. He remembered. He left quickly after dropping off the papers, but before the door closed, I made sure he heard me say to Phil, "Don't sign anything yet. I've got a story to tell you." I told Phil everything. How Hank had gouged us for $500 extra a month, taken our deposit, and left us with that unforgettable line, "You don't have to like it. You just have to pay it." Phil listened, frowned, and said, "Yeah, I can totally see him doing that. No way I'm giving this guy my business now." The next day, I stood behind Phil as he called Hank. "Hi, Hank. Yeah, I've decided to go with another agent." "No, you don't need to offer me a discount. You'd be losing money if you did that." "No, this has nothing to do with Rocky." "Well, you don't have to like it, Hank. You just have to accept it." Click. And just like that, the man who once squeezed $1,200 out of me lost $20,000 in easy commissions. Revenge served years later, with his own words